Welcome to Bedtime Biology, where science slows down and nature whispers you to sleep. Settle in, relax, and let's begin. Close your eyes, or if you'd rather, let them rest half open, soft and unfocused, the way you look at something without really looking at all. Tonight, we're going somewhere quiet. A rainforest, warm and green, where the light is just beginning to change from gold to blue. Somewhere in that stillness, in the tangle of leaves and vines, something is watching us. Slowly, patiently, without moving a single muscle. It's a chameleon. And there is nowhere else on Earth quite like this, because more than half of all chameleon species, nearly 200 of them in total, make their home right here, on the island of Madagascar. Nowhere crowded, nowhere loud. Just leaves and branches and small, careful lives unfolding one slow breath at a time. Let your own breathing slow down to match. In and out. There's no need to hurry tonight. The chameleon in front of us grips its branch the way an old friend might hold your hand, firmly but gently. Its feet aren't like a bird's, or a lizard's, or anything else you might expect. Each foot is split into two small, opposing clusters of toes, fused together like little mittens, so that the branch is held from both sides at once. Scientists call this zygodactyl, a big word for a simple, comforting idea. This creature was built to never fall. And beneath it, curling down and around the branch like a soft question mark, is its tail. Unlike so many animals, the chameleon's tail isn't just for balance. It's prehensile. It can curl and grip and hold on, almost like a fifth limb. When the wind moves through the canopy, the chameleon simply lets its tail take the weight and sways along with the leaves, unbothered. Because that, too, is part of its quiet secret. When a chameleon walks, it doesn't rush. It rocks, ever so slightly, from side to side, in a slow, deliberate sway, mimicking a leaf caught in the breeze. To anything watching, a swaying chameleon looks like nothing at all. Just wind. Just stillness. Just green moving gently against green. Above the branch, half hidden by a leaf, two eyes sit in small turret-like domes, and this is where things become almost dreamlike. Each eye can move entirely on its own, one eye gazing backward into the shadows behind, the other scanning slowly forward toward the last warm light of the day. Two separate worlds, seen at once, and somehow held together in one small, calm mind. Let your own eyes rest now, however they'd like to. There's nothing you need to watch for. Nothing you need to find. If we wait here a little longer, in the hush before full dark, we might see the thing chameleons are famous for, though it isn't quite what most people believe. Their skin doesn't shift color simply to hide. Hidden in their skin are layers of specialized cells called iridophores, filled with tiny crystals, and by relaxing or tightening these layers, a chameleon can bend the light itself, turning calm greens into brighter, bolder colors in moments. It's less a disguise, and more a kind of language. A ripple of blue across the throat can mean I am calm. A sudden burst of orange can mean stay back. Color, here, is simply another way of speaking, one that needs no sound at all. And so, in silence, this small creature tells its story to the forest around it, in shifting shades and slow color and a language older than words. We'll rest here a while longer, in the deepening blue of the evening, before we drift further into the forest. The light has almost gone now. Somewhere far above, the last color drains out of the sky, and the forest exhales into darkness. Our chameleon hasn't moved far. Chameleons rarely do. They are not travelers. Almost every species lives a slow, solitary life, keeping to its own small stretch of branch and leaf, rarely crossing paths with another of its kind except when it's time to find a mate. There is something restful in that, a life lived at one gentle pace, in one gentle place, unhurried by the need to be anywhere else. But should another chameleon wander too close, ours might puff itself up, ever so slightly, and deepen its colors into something bold and unmistakable, a quiet warning, not of violence, but of space. This is mine, the colors seem to say. Please, go gently elsewhere. And almost always, the other simply does. Let your shoulders soften. Let your hands go loose and unclenched, resting wherever they are. There is nothing here to guard, nothing to defend. Just warmth and stillness and the soft, slow dark. If we look closely, and only if we want to, we might notice how oddly flat this creature is, its body pressed thin from side to side, like a leaf that learned to breathe. This shape isn't an accident. Pressed between branches, seen edge-on, a chameleon can vanish into dappled light and shadow almost completely, one more leaf among 1,000 leaves, indistinguishable, unbothered, safe. Further along the same branch, so small we might almost miss it, sits a chameleon barely the size of a fingernail. This is a relative of ours tonight, a brachysia, one of the smallest chameleons known to science, small enough to rest comfortably on the tip of a single finger. And not so far from here, in another part of this same green island, lives its opposite, a parson's chameleon, some of the largest of all, stretching longer than your own forearm, slow and magnificent, moving through the canopy like something out of an old, half-remembered dream. Big or small, though, all of them share that same unhurried patience. All of them wait. And waiting, for a chameleon, is an art form all its own. Because when the moment finally comes, everything changes in an instant. Deep in its mouth, coiled like a spring, is a tongue that can stretch out longer than the chameleon's entire body. And when it finally releases, it moves faster than almost anything else in the animal kingdom, faster than a blink, faster than a thought, striking its target and returning to the safety of that same patient mouth in a fraction of a second. One heartbeat of motion, framed by a lifetime of stillness. But we don't need to see it happen tonight. Tonight, we only need to know that it's possible, that somewhere close by, wrapped in the dark, is a creature capable of astonishing speed, who spends almost all its life choosing calm instead. Let that be true for you, too, just for tonight. We'll stay in this hush a little longer, the forest settling further into sleep around us, before we move on, deeper still, into the next quiet hour. The dark has settled all the way in now. Not a frightening dark, a soft one. The kind that wraps around a forest like a blanket being pulled up to the chin. Our chameleon is still there, still on its branch, and if we look closely, just for a moment, we can see how strange and wonderful its eyes really are. Each one sits in its own small turret, and each one can swivel almost all the way around on its own, nearly a full half circle apiece. Together, without ever needing to turn its head, this small creature can take in almost the entire world around it at once. Nothing to strain for, nothing to miss. And yet, for all that watching, it hears the forest in an entirely different way. Chameleons have no ear openings at all, no small holes, no outer ears like ours. Instead, sound arrives to them as vibration, traveling up through branch and bone, felt more than heard. So if we wanted to speak to it tonight, we wouldn't need words. Just a low hum, a gentle rustle, would be enough. Let your own ears stop listening for anything in particular now. There's nothing you need to catch. Just let sound wash past you, soft and shapeless, like water over stones. Somewhere else on this same dark island, another kind of stillness is happening. A female chameleon, weeks ago, dug a small, careful hole in the soft earth and laid her eggs there, covering them over gently before returning to her branch. Not every chameleon does this, though. Some, like the gentle Jackson's chameleon, carry their young inside them instead, and give birth to fully formed babies, tiny and complete, ready to climb from their very first hour. For the ones left resting in the earth, patience takes on an entirely new meaning. Some chameleon eggs rest quietly underground for close to a year before they are ready to hatch, an entire season of stillness, of nothing happening at all, until, one day, it does. Let that be a small comfort tonight, too. That stillness is never wasted. That waiting, in its own slow way, is a kind of becoming. Back on our branch, if the moment ever truly came, if a small insect wandered too close, our chameleon's tongue would answer in a way that seems to break every rule of patience we've just described. Its tip isn't just quick. It's built like a soft, muscular cup, and on impact, it forms a gentle suction, so that whatever it touches simply cannot get away. And what powers all of that impossible speed isn't muscle at all, not really. It's a layer of elastic tissue, coiled tight like a spring-pulled taut, storing energy the way a stretched rubber band does, waiting, until it's finally allowed to let go. Stored energy, released slowly, or all at once, when the time is right. Perhaps that's true of more than just a chameleon's tongue. And even the colors we spoke of earlier serve a second, quieter purpose we haven't mentioned yet. When the night turns cold, a chameleon's skin will often deepen, darkening slightly to soak in whatever warmth it can find. And when the day turns hot, that same skin will lighten again, reflecting the sun's heat away. A whole language of color, then, isn't only for speaking to others. Some of it is simply for staying comfortable, warm enough, cool enough, exactly enough. Among all the different chameleons scattered across this island, few wear their color quite as boldly as the panther chameleon, reds and blues and greens, arranged differently depending on which corner of Madagascar it calls home, so that you could almost tell where a chameleon was born simply by the pattern painted across its skin. Rest now, for a moment, in that thought. Somewhere on this island, right now, hundreds of small, brightly colored lives are settling in for the night, each one carrying its own particular pattern, its own small, quiet corner of the world. We'll stay close a little longer, before drifting further into the next hour of dark. It's very quiet now. The kind of quiet where even your own thoughts start to slow down, one by one, like leaves settling after a breeze has passed. If we drift a little further along the branch, we come to another chameleon altogether, a male, this one, with 3 short, curious horns rising gently from his face, like something out of an old, gentle myth. This is a Jackson's chameleon, and those horns aren't for hunting or defense against the world at large. They are for other Jackson's chameleons, used, every so often, in slow, careful duels between rival males, pushing gently against one another the way 2 old rams might, settling their small disagreements without ever needing to raise their voice. Nearby, resting on a different branch, is a chameleon wearing something like a small, soft helmet, a raised crest called a casque, rising from the top of its head. This is a veiled chameleon, and that little helmet does something rather lovely while it sleeps. Through the cool of the night, moisture in the air gathers there, gently, drop by drop, and trickles slowly down toward its waiting mouth by morning. A built-in rain catcher. A small, quiet kindness, built right into its own body. Because chameleons, as it turns out, rarely drink from streams or puddles the way so many animals do. Instead, they wait for the world to bring water to them, a bead of dew resting on a leaf, a drop of rain still clinging to a branch after a storm has passed. Small sips, gathered slowly, exactly when they are needed. There's something worth resting on, in that. Not chasing. Just waiting, softly, for what you need to arrive. All around us now, On branch after branch, the chameleons of this forest have settled in for the night, and they do it in the safest way they know, gripping tight with those small, mitten-like feet, tail curled snug around the branch beneath them, so secure that even a night of wind and rain won't loosen their hold. They don't need a nest. They don't need a burrow. Just a branch, and a good, steady grip, and that's enough. And here is perhaps the gentlest secret of all. While they sleep, many chameleons let their bright, busy daytime colors fade away completely, soft, pale, muted tones taking over instead, as if even their skin is resting now, along with the rest of them. Beneath all that color-changing magic are tiny, lead crystals in the skin itself, and at night, with nothing to say and no one to warn away, those crystals simply settle, quiet, into stillness. Let your own colors fade a little now, too, however that feels to you. There's nothing left to signal tonight. No warning to give. No stranger to greet. Just rest. Some of these small creatures, the little ones especially, will live out their whole lives in a single year or two, moving softly through one bright, brief season after another. Others, the larger, slower ones, might live 5 years, 10 years, watching many seasons turn from the safety of their favorite branch. Long life or short, though, each one spends its days the very same way, watching quietly, waiting patiently, keeping its rounded, watchful eyes open just enough to notice trouble long before trouble ever notices them. That's a good way to rest, too, I think. Watchful, but calm. Aware, but unafraid. Held safely by your own quiet grip on the world. We'll linger here a little longer, in this hush of muted color and slow breathing, before moving gently on, into the next quiet hour of night. We're deep into the night now. Deep enough that time itself starts to feel soft and unhurried, the way it does in the last stretch before sleep finally arrives. There's something about our chameleon's eyes we haven't mentioned yet, something almost secret. Beneath their skin, in patterns invisible to us, some species carry small bony bumps that glow softly under a certain kind of light, ultraviolet light, the kind hidden just past what our eyes can see. Scientists only discovered this gentle glow a few years ago, hidden there all along, a quiet kind of light these creatures may use to recognize each other in ways we're only beginning to understand. A whole hidden layer of the world, glowing softly, unnoticed, right beside us. And when the moment for a strike finally comes, when an insect drifts too close, those two independent eyes do something remarkable. For just an instant, they stop wandering separately and turn together, both pointed at the very same spot, giving the chameleon a brief, precise sense of distance and depth. Only then does the tongue release. A whole lifetime of watching alone, narrowing down, just for a heartbeat, into watching as one. Let your own breathing settle into something like that now. 2 breaths, in and out, coming slowly together into one long, easy rhythm. If danger ever did wander close, a bird overhead, a larger animal below, our chameleon wouldn't flee in a panic. It would simply grow quieter, duller. Its bright colors would fade toward brown and gray, blending softly into bark and shadow, patience itself becoming its safest shelter. Its skin, up close, isn't smooth like ours. It's covered in small, rounded bumps called tubercles, and unlike a snake, which sheds its skin in one long, single piece, a chameleon lets its skin flake gently away in small patches, over time, unhurried, the way old paint softens and lifts from a windowsill. Even now, resting, That same curled tail could reach out if it needed to, stretching toward a berry, or a leaf, or a farther branch, functioning like a slow, careful fifth hand, grasping gently at whatever the day required. But the truth is, a chameleon can't warm itself the way we can. It has no inner furnace, no shiver to make its own heat. It relies entirely on the world around it, a patch of morning sun, a shaded leaf in the afternoon heat, drifting slowly between the two, all day, seeking exactly the right degree of warmth. Which is why, come morning, our chameleon will find the very edge of an outer branch, catching the very first soft light of dawn, and simply wait there, patiently, warming, before the day's slow business begins. For now, though, there is no morning yet. Only this long, gentle dark, and a small creature resting quietly within it, trusting the night to hold it until the light returns. Far from here, farther than this whole island, there's one small cousin of our chameleon living an entirely different life, along sun-warmed hillsides near the Mediterranean Sea. This is the only chameleon native to Europe at all, and it moves through olive groves and dry scrubland much the way ours moves through rainforest leaves, slowly, patiently, one careful step at a time, proof that this same quiet way of living has found its way into more corners of the world than we might expect. Rest now, in that thought, if it helps. Same slow patience. Same quiet grip. Carried gently, into every corner it's ever called home. Most chameleons, when they hunt, rely almost entirely on their eyesight so sharp that they can notice a small insect resting several body lengths away, long before it ever notices them. A quiet kind of patience, paired with a very careful kind of attention. Watching, waiting, until the moment is exactly right. And that instant color change we've spoken of more than once now, tonight, the secret behind it lies in something impossibly small. Tucked into their skin are tiny, evenly spaced crystals, and by gently relaxing or tightening the space between them, a chameleon bends and reflects light differently, shifting from a calm, quiet green to something brighter and bolder in only a few seconds. Not paint, not dye, just light itself, softly rearranged. Some female chameleons use this same quiet trick for a very particular reason, to say, gently but clearly, not tonight. When they aren't ready to welcome a mate, their colors shift into something sharper, a signal any male nearby understands at once, no argument required. And in some species, the panther chameleon especially, it's the males who wear the boldest, brightest colors of all, blues and reds and oranges layered together, while the females rest in softer browns and quiet tans, except, of course, for those brief, deliberate moments when they, too, have something particular to say. Let your own body feel that same permission tonight, to simply rest in whatever soft, quiet color feels right for you. There's no display required. No signal to send. Just stillness. Across this whole island, and the warm mainland beyond it, and even those far hillsides near the Mediterranean, chameleons have found countless small variations on this same gentle life, a life built almost entirely around insects for food, though a few of the largest among them will occasionally take a small bird, or an unwary little lizard, when the opportunity quietly arrives. But mostly, it's small things, gathered slowly, one careful strike at a time. And here on Madagascar especially, a great many of these chameleons exist absolutely nowhere else in the world, found only here, in this one particular stretch of forest, and nowhere else on the whole of the earth. Which makes a place like this feel less like just a forest, and more like a quiet, singular treasure, one small, hushed corner of the world, holding something that exists only within it. Let that settle over you gently, too, as we near the end of this hour together. Something rare, something quiet, cared for best simply by being left, undisturbed, to rest. We'll pause here for now, at the edge of the next quiet stretch of night, the forest still breathing slowly around us, patient, unhurried, exactly as it's always been. Evie settled now into the deepest, quietest part of the night, the kind of hour where nothing much happens at all, and that's exactly as it should be. There's a small, gentle story hidden in the very word chameleon, if you'd like to hear it. It comes from two old Greek words, woven together long ago, one meaning on the ground, and the other meaning lion. Ground lion. A small, unlikely name for such a small, unlikely creature. Though perhaps, in its own slow, patient way, it earns it. Not through size, or roar, or speed, but through a quiet, total command of its own small corner of the world. That tongue we've spoken of more than once tonight, when it finally releases, moves with a force that's almost hard to imagine, accelerating faster, for that one brief instant, than a fighter jet leaving a runway. And yet, the very same creature capable of that impossible burst will spend the rest of its day moving so slowly you could watch it for a full minute and barely notice it shifted at all. Let your own body hold both of those things tonight, too, if it helps. The knowledge that you're capable of quick, decisive movement, whenever it's truly needed, and the permission, for now, to simply be still. When a baby chameleon first hatches, or is born, it arrives already whole. No nest to be fed in. No parent hovering close by. It simply climbs down, or up, finds its very first small branch, and begins, independent from its very first breath, carrying everything it needs already folded quietly inside it. Not every chameleon lives among rainforest leaves, either. Farther west, along the sun-scorched edges of the Namib Desert, a hardier cousin called the Namaqua chameleon makes its home among sand and scattered stone. And there, its color-changing skin does something rather remarkable, turning almost black in the cool of early morning, soaking up every last bit of the sun's warmth, before fading to a much paler gray by midday, reflecting the same sun's heat safely away again. A whole day's temperature, managed quietly, one shade at a time. And chameleons, as a family, don't stop at rainforest and desert alone. Some make their homes across the drier savannas and open woodlands of mainland Africa too, adapting that same unhurried patience to whatever landscape they are given. Beneath all of this color-changing magic, tucked in careful layers beneath the skin, sits more than just the crystals we spoke of earlier. There's a layer of pigment above them, and a deeper layer still, holding darker tones, that quietly adjusts just how bright or muted the whole display appears. 3 careful layers, working together, each one doing its own small part. And here's a strange, lovely thought to rest on, before we drift onward. Some researchers believe chameleons may see a wider slice of light than we do ourselves, reaching a little further into ultraviolet than human eyes ever could. A whole extra thread of color, woven into their world, that we will simply never get to see for ourselves. Just one more quiet mystery, resting gently in the dark beside us. Let's drift now, gently, down from the high branches, toward the forest floor, where an entirely different kind of chameleon makes its home. Not every chameleon lives up among the leaves. Some, the small, humble pygmy and leaf chameleons, spend almost their entire lives close to the ground, moving quietly through fallen leaves and low brush instead of towering canopy. And their disguise, fittingly, is leaves themselves, their bodies shaped and colored to resemble a single dead, curling leaf so closely that even a careful eye might walk right past one, resting motionless among 1,000 real leaves just like it. Some will even sway there, ever so slightly, exactly the way a true dead leaf trembles in a passing breeze, one more small performance, offered to no one in particular, simply to stay safely unseen. If, somehow, a chameleon ever lost part of its tail, to an accident, or a close call with a predator, it wouldn't grow back the way it might for some other lizards. Unlike a gecko, who can regrow a lost tail again and again, a chameleon's tail, once gone, stays gone. A small reminder that not everything needs replacing to still be whole. Let yourself rest in that thought a moment, too, however it lands for you. Wholeness doesn't always mean untouched. Sometimes it simply means, still here. Still moving forward, gently, exactly as you are. Chameleons are, on the whole, quiet creatures, but not entirely silent. If truly startled, a few species can let out a soft, breathy hiss, low and brief, paired with a sudden darkening of color, as if to say, quite plainly, please, not tonight. Some will even puff themselves up a little larger than they truly are, drawing in air, swelling gently at the throat, appearing just a touch more formidable than a small, patient creature usually needs to. And that, in its own way, may be the truest thing we've learned tonight. This is a creature built almost entirely around conserving its own quiet energy, moving slowly, waiting patiently, spending its swiftness and its noise only in the rarest, most necessary moments, and resting, gently, through everything else. Some chameleons carry more than simple color changes, too, developing soft spots, or faint stripes, layered over their base color, like a second, quieter pattern resting just beneath the first. And in recent years, engineers and scientists studying all of this, the shifting crystals, the independently swiveling eyes, have borrowed some of these same quiet designs for our own use. Camera lenses that move the way a chameleon's eye does, materials that shift color the way chameleon skin does. Small ideas, borrowed gently from a small, patient creature, and put to entirely new purposes. We're well past the hour mark now, deep into this long, unhurried night, and still, there is nowhere we need to be. Rest here a while longer. There's more of this quiet story still to come, whenever you're ready for it. We're deep into this long night together now, far enough that even time feels like it's slowed to something soft and rounded at the edges. If we looked, very gently, inside our chameleon's mouth, which we won't disturb, of course, just imagine, would find something a little different from most other lizards. Its teeth are fused directly to the jawbone itself, rather than simply resting in little sockets, and unlike so many reptiles, who lose and regrow teeth again and again through their whole lives, a chameleon's teeth, once gone, are simply gone. Small, and fixed, and quietly permanent. Back in that soft patch of buried earth we mentioned earlier, the clutch of eggs, resting quietly underground. The number of eggs varies enormously from one kind of chameleon to another. Some of the smallest species lay just a handful at a time. But a veiled chameleon, one of the larger and hardier kinds, might lay 30, 40, even 80 eggs in a single clutch, an entire small population, resting together in the dark, patient earth. And in some species, a single mating is enough to last a good while longer than you'd expect. The female quietly holding on to what she needs, and laying more than one clutch of eggs over time, all from that one, single, unhurried moment. Let your own mind rest on that image a while, if it helps. Something held quietly, safely, ready to unfold again later, exactly when it's needed, and not a moment before. Look closely at our chameleon's foot again, resting there on its branch, and you'll notice something small we skipped before, tiny, curved claws, right at the very tip of each little toe cluster, adding just a touch more grip to smooth bark, or slick, rain-wet leaves. A small, careful detail, added to an already careful design. Even the larger, more colorful chameleons, the bold, beautiful panthers we've spoken of more than once tonight, often live surprisingly short lives out in the wild, only 2 or 3 years, for all their size and color, though with gentle care in captivity, some manage quite a bit longer. A short, bright life, lived fully, one slow branch at a time. And not every chameleon we've met tonight lives down among warm, low forest, either. Some make their homes much higher up, in the cooler mountain forests of Madagascar's highlands, adapting that same unhurried patience to thinner, chillier air. From warm lowland leaves to cool, misty mountain slopes, this same quiet way of living stretches across almost every corner this island has to offer. And because their whole body runs at such a slow, careful pace, chameleons don't need to eat nearly as often as busier, faster-moving lizards do. A single, well-timed meal can carry them contentedly through a good long stretch of quiet, patient days. Some of the chameleons we've met tonight are becoming rarer than they once were, not through any fault of their own, simply because the forests they call home are shrinking, cleared slowly for farmland and timber. Because of this, many chameleon species are now protected under international agreements, careful rules meant to keep them safe from being taken from the wild, so that these same quiet lives can go on undisturbed for a good while yet. If we wanted to place our small friend properly, scientifically, we'd say it belongs to a family called Chameleonidae, tucked within the much larger order of scaled reptiles called Squamata, one particular, specialized branch on a very old and sprawling tree of life. And even during the bright hours of daylight, chameleons aren't always in motion. Often, they'll simply pause, resting quietly on a branch for long stretches, still and unbothered, conserving their own small store of energy between one hunt and the next. Daylight rest, much like the nighttime rest we've shared together tonight, woven quietly into an already slow and patient life. For all their strange, striking appearance, chameleons carry no venom, no sharp defense at all, really, beyond the very same quiet tools we've spoken of all night: stillness, color, patience. If ever truly cornered, a chameleon might give a soft, defensive bite, but it's a last resort, not a first instinct. Watching, waiting, and blending in will always be its favorite answer first. Even chameleons cared for far from their forest homes need that same forest carried carefully with them. The right warmth, the right dampness in the air, gentle gradients of sun and shade recreated with real care, because each species remains so closely, specifically tuned to the one particular home it evolved within. And it's worth noticing, too, how differently this same color-changing gift shows up depending on where a chameleon lives. Deep in a shaded, crowded rainforest, colors shift often and dramatically. So much shade, so many neighbors, so much to quietly say. But out in open desert or dry savanna, that same gift settles into something steadier, driven mostly by the sun's rise and fall, warming and cooling, a slower, simpler kind of conversation with the world. We've come a long way together tonight, through rainforest and desert, mountain slope and forest floor, watching a small, patient creature carry the very same quiet grace into every one of them. There's still more of this story left to tell, more quiet corners of this world still waiting to be found. But for now, let this long, unhurried hush hold you exactly where you are. Rest well. There's nowhere else you need to be tonight. We've come a long, gentle way together by now, past midnight, deep into the kind of hour where nothing feels urgent at all, and nothing needs to. Those two eyes of our chameleon, wandering so freely on their own, it means, for most of the day, this small creature is really seeing two entirely separate pictures of the world at once, each eye working quietly on its own, rather than blending into one shared view the way ours do. Two small, private windows, open at the same time, each looking wherever it likes. And that same shifting color we've returned to so many times tonight can tell us more than mood or warmth alone. Sometimes, when a chameleon isn't feeling quite well, its colors turn duller, patchier, less certain than usual, a small, honest signal, easy for a careful caretaker to notice, long before anything more serious follows. Even that soft, helmet-like casque some chameleons wear can vary gently by sex. Within the very same species, a male veiled chameleon, for instance, usually carrying a taller, more prominent crest than a female resting beside him. Small differences, quietly worn, telling their own small story to anyone who knows how to look. Let your own thoughts rest a while on that. How much can be said, softly, without a single word ever needing to be spoken? Not every chameleon rushes toward adulthood, either. Some of the larger kinds, like the Parsons chameleon we met earlier, take a good long while to grow into their full size, their full color, their full readiness to raise young of their own, years, sometimes, rather than months. A slow, patient unfolding, layer by careful layer. Underneath all of it, the colors themselves come from surprisingly few true ingredients. A soft yellow pigment, sitting in one layer of skin, mixes together with that blue, light-bending crystal layer just beneath it. And together, quite simply, they become the calm greens we associate with chameleons most of all. True black, true white, these are rare, precious exceptions. Almost everything else is some soft, shifting blend of just a few careful colors, led gently together. And when a whole clutch of eggs finally reaches its long-awaited moment, they tend to hatch together, all around the very same time, rather than trickling out one by one, a small, quiet flood of new, tiny lives, arriving all at once, into the safety of shared numbers. Each of those hatchlings, remarkably, arrives already whole, fully colored, fully capable of shifting that color within its very first hours of life, already hunting its very first small insect meal before its first full day has even ended. No slow, fumbling infancy here, just a small, complete creature, ready from its very first breath. We're deep into this quiet story now, and still, there is nowhere we need to hurry toward. Just this soft dark, and this small, patient creature, resting somewhere close beside us. Even while resting, still and unmoving, our chameleon sometimes sways, very gently, all on its own. The same slow, leaf-like rocking it uses while walking, carried quietly into stillness too, just in case the wind ever needs an excuse for its small movements. If it ever did lose its footing, a sudden gust, a slippery leaf, a chameleon's fall isn't quite as frightening as it might seem. Its body is light, built for branches rather than ground, and its instinct to grasp is so immediate that it will often simply catch itself on another branch entirely on the way down, as if some small, practiced reflex were simply waiting there, ready, the whole time. That same remarkable grip, light body, careful grasp, has quietly found its way into laboratories far from any rainforest, inspiring engineers designing gentle robotic grippers, modeled after a chameleon's small, sure hold on the world. And when it comes to judging distance before a strike, a chameleon doesn't only rely on its eyes converging together, the way we spoke of earlier. It also bobs its head, ever so slightly, back and forth, a small, subtle motion that helps its mind piece together depth and distance, not unlike the way certain birds tilt and bob their own heads before settling on exactly where to land. Let your own head rest heavy now, fully still, needing no small movements of its own tonight. All the distance judging is done. All the deciding is finished. Just rest remains. Some chameleon species keep to a schedule of their own too, most active not at midday, but in the cooler, softer light of dawn and dusk, slipping quietly between the brightest hours, content to do their most careful living just as light rises, or just as it fades. For all its slow, gentle nature, a chameleon's grip is remarkably strong for its size, strong enough to hold its entire body weight, easily, from a single limb, without strain, without effort, exactly the way a single steady hand might hold onto something precious without ever needing to grip too tightly. Far from this forest, in zoos and careful breeding programs around the world, some of the rarer chameleon species are given a quiet second chance, small, protected populations, kept safe outside their shrinking wild homes, a gentle safeguard against a day none of us truly wants to arrive. And even here, among such solitary creatures, there are rare exceptions. When food happens to gather thickly in one small spot, a few chameleons might loosely tolerate each other's company for a while, resting closer than usual, quietly sharing a good and plentiful moment, before drifting back to their separate, familiar branches once again. We've traveled a long, soft way together tonight, 2 full hours of quiet forest, patient creatures, and slow, unhurried facts, gently gathered like dew on a leaf. Let all of it settle now, however it wants to. There's still a little more of this story waiting, whenever you're ready for it, but for tonight, this is more than enough. Rest well. Even after all this small, hidden world is still being discovered. Researchers continue finding new kinds of chameleon, even now, tucked into remote, untouched patches of Madagascar's forest, small, quiet lives that no one had ever named or recorded, waiting patiently to finally be found. Some of these creatures change not just with mood, or warmth, or the passing of a stranger, but with time itself. A young chameleon, just starting out, often wears colors quite different from the ones it will carry as an adult, its whole pattern softly shifting, layer by layer, as it slowly grows into itself. And a chameleon cared for gently in captivity, fed carefully, kept safe from predators, watched over by attentive hands, will often live rather longer than one facing the wild's harder edges. Though even then, its well-being depends entirely on how closely its small world is made to resemble the one it left behind. In the cooler mountain air we spoke of earlier, some chameleons have found an even gentler solution to the cold, carrying their eggs inside themselves rather than burying them in ground that might freeze. A little added warmth and protection, carried close, until the moment is finally right. That remarkable tongue, when it's not in use, doesn't simply dangle loose inside the mouth. It folds back on itself, gently, like a small paper fan drawn closed, coiled and ready, waiting patiently for its next single, sudden moment of use. Between both of those wondering eyes, working together, a chameleon can take in nearly the entire world around it at once, one of the widest fields of view of almost any creature with a backbone, a nearly complete circle of watchfulness, achieved without ever needing to turn its head at all. And though its hearing works only through vibration, as we mentioned once already, it's especially tuned to low, slow tremors, the kind of deep, quiet sound that travels through branch and root, rather than the brighter, quicker sounds that travel through open air. This whole small body, tongue and iron patient grip together, is far older than it looks, too. Ancient relatives of today's chameleons stretch back tens of millions of years, this same unhurried design proving, again and again, that patience is a strategy built to last. Here, near the very end of our long, slow journey together, one more small, strange story waits for us. Somewhere in the dry forests of southwestern Madagascar lives a chameleon called Furcifer labordi, and its life unfolds almost backward from what you might expect. It spends most of its entire existence as an egg, resting quietly underground for 8 or 9 long months. And then, once it finally emerges, it lives only a handful of months more as a full, complete adult, before its short, bright life comes to its natural close. One of the briefest lifespans of any creature with a backbone, and yet, in its own quiet way, a whole complete life, lived fully, exactly as it needed to be. Let that rest gently with you, too, if it helps, tonight. A life doesn't need to be long to be whole. Only lived, fully, in whatever time it's given. When the moment for a strike finally does arrive, after all that careful watching, a chameleon's aim is remarkably precise, years of quiet practice folded into instinct, rarely missing once its whole small, patient attention has finally settled and locked on. For those who care for chameleons far from any real forest, the very best homes are the ones built to feel almost like the real thing. Live plants, soft misting, gentle cycles of light and shadow, recreating, as closely as possible, the one particular corner of the world each species came from. And despite what stories sometimes say, a chameleon can't shift into absolutely any pattern imaginable, no checkerboards, no plaid, nothing outside its own species' natural, gentle range of color. Its gift is remarkable, but it has its own quiet limits, just like everything else in this soft, patient world. Because of that same delicate balance, precise needs, easily upset, chameleons are often considered a thoughtful commitment rather than a simple, easy pet, best cared for only after real time spent learning what, exactly, that one small life requires. The dark hasn't lifted. Not yet. There's still more of this quiet forest left to wander through, if you'd like to stay a while longer. Look closely at our chameleon's eye again, resting there in its small, dome-shaped turret. What looks, from a distance, like a strange, sculpted eyeball is actually mostly eyelid, fused almost completely closed around the eye itself, leaving only the smallest pinhole open for the pupil to peer through. A tiny, careful window, built right into its own skin. Not every large chameleon calls Madagascar home, either. Over on mainland Africa, in warm woodlands and open bush, lives Melas chameleon, one of the biggest of them all, stretching past 2 feet in length, calm and unhurried despite its impressive size. Even the way a chameleon's foot releases and regrips as it moves is its own small marvel, specialized little muscles allowing each toe cluster to let go and settle again smoothly, branch to branch, without ever once losing its balance. Let your own body feel that same gentle release now, if it helps, loosening one small part at a time, without ever needing to hold on too tightly to anything at all. That slow, careful walk we've mentioned more than once tonight isn't only about looking like a leaf in the wind. It's also simply cheaper, costing far less energy than a quick, hurried scramble would, which suits a creature whose whole slow metabolism was built for patience over haste. Some chameleons, like the flap-necked chameleon, carry a soft fold of skin around the neck, tucked in most of the time, but able to flare outward like a small collar whenever a rival, or a threat, wanders too close. A quiet costume change, kept ready, just in case. And even the comfortable warmth a chameleon prefers isn't the same from species to species. Those from warm, lowland rainforests like their world a little hotter and steadier, while those from cooler mountain slopes have learned to settle comfortably into far chillier air. Each one, tuned quietly to its own particular idea of just right. When a female isn't interested in a male's attention, she doesn't only change color to say so. Sometimes, she'll rock gently from side to side, or open her mouth in a small, unmistakable gesture, a clear, calm no, delivered without any real anger behind it at all. And that shifting crystal lattice inside her skin, and his, and every chameleon's, isn't simply drifting passively along with mood. It's tuned actively, deliberately, by the nervous system itself, a small, controlled decision, made quietly, every single time a color needs to change. Further down, closer to the forest floor, one of the smallest chameleons has an entirely different trick up its sleeve when danger comes close. Rather than climbing calmly away, some little Brachysia species simply go still, completely, perfectly still, and drop, quietly, into the leaf litter below, vanishing among 1,000 identical brown leaves, indistinguishable, safe. Let your own body borrow that same trick tonight, if it helps. Simply still. Simply settled. Indistinguishable from the soft, quiet dark around you. That same astonishing tongue strike we've returned to so often has found its way, too, into laboratories working on something called soft robotics. Engineers designing gentle, rapid, ballistic-style grippers, modeled after this one small creature's remarkable, sudden reach. Even the earth a mother chameleon chooses for her eggs isn't picked at random. She seems to sense, instinctively, exactly the right dampness, the right warmth, before she ever begins to dig, a small, careful decision, made entirely by feel. And that same tongue can adjust its aim more finely than you might expect, too. Not just straight ahead, but slightly left, slightly right, guided by careful little muscles at its very base, correcting its path in that same impossibly brief instant before release. Though chameleons are mostly thought of as hunters of insects alone, some of the larger species have been seen, now and then, nibbling quietly at a bit of soft plant matter too, an occasional, gentle exception to an otherwise strict and steady diet. Up close, a chameleon's skin doesn't feel smooth the way you might expect, either. It's slightly rough, slightly granular, dotted all over with those small tubercle bumps we mentioned once before, giving it a soft, textured quality, quite unlike the sleek scales of so many other lizards. And even within the very same species, in the very same patch of forest, no two chameleons wear quite the same pattern. Each one carries its own small, particular arrangement of color and shade, a quiet kind of fingerprint, entirely its own. Even that soft casque resting on some chameleons' heads may do more than collect the morning dew we spoke of earlier. Some researchers believe it also helps gather faint ground vibrations, funneling them gently downward, toward wherever hearing happens, deep inside. And across so many old and different cultures, this same slow, watchful, ever-shifting creature has long stood for something larger than itself: calm adaptability, quiet patience, the steady art of changing gently rather than all at once. A small lesson, carried quietly through history, one branch at a time. We'll rest here a little longer, in this deepening, doubled night, more of this soft story still ahead of us, whenever you're ready to keep going. Still here. Still resting. The forest hasn't asked us to leave yet, and there's no reason to hurry off before it does. That color-changing gift we've circled back to so many times tonight doesn't move evenly across the whole body, either. The throat and the sides tend to shift quickest and boldest, while the back and tail linger a little longer in their quieter, steadier tones, a wave of color, rippling outward, rather than a single sudden change all at once. Those who care carefully for chameleons in captivity, breeding them thoughtfully over generations, often try to preserve this same natural variety of color and pattern, rather than pushing toward anything exaggerated or unnatural, a quiet respect for the way this creature was always meant to look. Even a chameleon's grip has its own small secret, beneath the claws we've already spoken of. Its footpads carry tiny, rough microstructures, not so different in principle from a gecko's famous sticky toes, though achieved by clamping and careful pressure rather than any adhesive magic. Still enough, either way, to hold steady against smooth, damp bark. The timing of when a female finally uses the patience she's kept stored away, that sperm retained, sometimes, for a good while, often depends on the world around her too, waiting for just the right rainfall, just the right warmth, before finally committing to laying her eggs. In cooler stretches of the year, some chameleons slow down even further than usual, entering something like a light, gentle hibernation, called brumation, moving less, eating less, simply waiting out the coldest weeks in careful stillness. Let your own body borrow a little of that same patience now, if it helps. There's no need to hurry through this cooler, quieter stretch of night either. Just waiting, gently, for warmer, brighter hours still to come. Even scientists studying human health have found something worth learning from this small creature: its slow metabolism and its unusual, light-bending skin cells, offering small clues that continue to interest researchers working in entirely different fields altogether. And in some species, males and females don't just differ in color or crest size. Sometimes, one sex grows noticeably larger than the other altogether. A small, quiet difference, carried through an entire lifetime. For all its careful watching, a chameleon actually sees best at a distance, rather than up close, which is precisely why that remarkable tongue exists at all. Rather than relying on close, careful eyesight to finish the job, it simply reaches out, calmly, exactly as far as it needs to. We're deep enough now that even the smallest details start to feel like little gifts, offered slowly, one at a time. That tiny pinhole pupil we spoke of earlier, tucked inside its almost closed eyelid, isn't fixed in place either. It can widen or narrow, adjusting gently to however much light happens to be available, not so different from the way a camera's aperture opens wide in darkness and narrows again under bright, open sun. When a chameleon reaches unusually far from its branch, stretching toward some distant, tempting insect, that same curled tail often does one more quiet job, shifting slightly, balancing the weight, keeping the whole small body steady and unhurried, even at the very edge of its reach. A female carrying eggs inside her will often wear a particular, gentler coloring of her own, a soft, quiet signal that tells any nearby male, gently but clearly, that she's already carrying what she needs, and has no more attention to spare for him just now. Those cared for gently indoors, far from real sunlight, often need a careful, specialized light installed above their home, one that mimics the natural sun closely enough to help their bodies process everything they'd normally gather simply by basking outdoors each morning. In the wild, a single chameleon will often return, again and again, to the very same favorite stretch of branches, the same familiar path, walked quietly, day after day, as if some small, steady memory were keeping it comfortably close to home. For all its clever camouflage, a chameleon isn't entirely safe from every watchful eye. Birds, snakes, and larger lizards will still, now and then, find their way past even the best-kept disguise, which is, in its own way, simply part of this same slow, patient forest's larger balance. If disguise alone isn't quite enough, some chameleons have one final trick left, letting go completely, dropping suddenly to the ground below, and lying utterly still there, betting that sudden disappearance will confuse a predator more thoroughly than any careful color ever could. And those cared for closely, over a long enough time, sometimes come to know their gentle caretakers, too, growing calmer, quieter, less prone to worried color shifts, around the one familiar hand that feeds and tends to them each day. We're well past our second 100 facts now, drifting further into this long, patient night than we ever quite expected to. And still, there's a little more of this soft story waiting, whenever you'd like to keep going. Still resting. Still here. There's no clock in this forest, only the slow, unhurried turning of one quiet hour into the next. Up close, that textured skin we spoke of once already isn't laid out in overlapping pieces, the way a snake's scales are. Each small bump sits on its own, separate, embedded into the skin rather than layered over it, more like scattered gravel than stacked shingles, giving a chameleon's surface its own particular, softly rough quality. Sometimes, that color-changing gift moves faster than mood alone would explain. A brief, sudden flash of bright warning color, there and gone again within a second or two, meant only to say, quickly and firmly, not one step closer, before fading calmly back to its usual quiet tone. And on especially bright days, a chameleon may narrow its eyes to the thinnest slit, almost a squint, easing the glare of strong sunlight the same gentle way we might shade our own eyes without needing to look away entirely. Let your own eyes rest that way now, too, if it helps, soft, half-closed, easing gently out of focus, with nothing bright or urgent left to look toward. It's worth knowing, too, that not every creature casually called a chameleon truly is one. Certain small lizards, often sold as American chameleons, are really a different family altogether. True chameleons alone carry that same fused, turret-eyed, tongue-launching design we've spent so long admiring tonight. Those other small lizards can shift, gently, between green and brown, but through an entirely different, simpler process, and without any of the fused, mitten-like toes or independently swiveling eyes that make a true chameleon so remarkable. Even before hatching, tucked quietly in the ground, a chameleon embryo seems to sense something of the world waiting outside. Research suggests the exact warmth of its buried egg may subtly shape its coloring, or even its early behavior, once it finally emerges. Through leaner, harder stretches of the year, chameleons in more seasonal or arid places rely on small reserves of stored fat, tucked quietly away, carrying them gently through whatever lean weeks come before better days return. And researchers studying these small, sensitive creatures in the wild tend to move just as gently as the chameleons themselves, favoring soft, minimally invasive methods, careful thread trails, or patient mark and release studies, rather than anything that might add real stress to such a delicately tuned little life. We've drifted a long way into this soft, doubled night now, and still, nothing here asks us to hurry toward its end. Even chameleons living just a few quiet kilometers apart can wear noticeably different shades of the very same species, each small population settling gently into whatever colors suit its own particular patch of leaf and light the best. During the breeding season especially, many chameleons brighten considerably, bolder blues, richer reds, more vivid than the rest of the year, before softening back down again once that particular season has quietly passed. When climbing downward, rather than up, a chameleon often reverses its usual careful order, tail reaching first, feeling for the next secure hold, guiding a slow, controlled descent rather than a careless, forward tumble. As the night grows cooler, a chameleon's whole inner rhythm slows along with it, heartbeat, breath, every small internal process easing gently downward, matched closely to the falling temperature around it, exactly as an ectothermic life is built to do. Not every chameleon stays high in the branches, either. Some will happily rest on low shrubs, or even cross a short stretch of open ground, when a better tree waits invitingly on the other side. Because so many people admire chameleons enough to want one of their own, a number of Malagasy species now face careful export limits, or full protective bans, meant to keep wild populations safe from being gathered away too quickly. Some patient researchers have followed individual wild chameleons across several years of their lives, gathering rare, gentle insight into how one small creature grows, settles into its favorite branches, and eventually raises young of its own, one unhurried season at a time. For all their reputation for stillness, chameleons can move quite quickly when they need to, a sudden, brisk repositioning toward a better hunting spot, before settling calmly back into their familiar, patient stillness once again. And young chameleons, just starting out, seem to sharpen their aim within only their first few weeks of independent life, each small, early attempt refining the same skill their whole life will eventually depend on. Even that particular, familiar green so many chameleons wear isn't an accident of taste. It happens to match, almost exactly, the same wavelengths of light reflected by real, living leaves, which is precisely what makes it such quietly perfect camouflage in the soft, filtered light of a forest like this one. That remarkable tongue doesn't stretch quite the same relative distance in every chameleon, either. In some of the smallest species, it can reach out more than twice their entire body length, an even more extreme proportion than the larger chameleons manage, small bodies hiding surprisingly long reach. The very tissue that powers that reach, that tightly wound, spring-like layer we spoke of once before, has caught the attention of material scientists too, curious whether its particular blend of proteins might inspire new kinds of elastic, energy-storing material for entirely different purposes. When two males do meet along the same branch, and one quietly concedes, its colors shift almost immediately, brighter, bolder tones fading to something duller, softer, an unmistakable and peaceful surrender, settled without needing another moment of conflict. Every so often, in the middle of that slow, familiar blink, both eyes will close at exactly the same time. A small, rare pause where two entirely separate views of the world briefly become one, if only for an instant, before drifting apart again. Let your own eyes rest fully closed now too, if they haven't already. Both together, both still, no need for either one to keep watching alone tonight. If the ground around a buried clutch of eggs turns too dry, or too cold, some chameleon eggs seem able to simply wait it out, pausing their own quiet development a while longer, patient enough to hold off entirely until softer, more welcoming conditions finally return. Much of what we know about these small, hidden lives comes not only from careful scientists, but from local guides and communities across Madagascar, whose deep, patient familiarity with their own forests often reveals exactly where and when a particular chameleon is most likely to be found. Some of the smallest leaf chameleons we've spoken of tonight were only formally recognized by science within the last decade or so, quiet, hidden lives, waiting patiently in plain sight for far longer than that, before finally being noticed and named. And when a chameleon reaches a thin, uncertain branch, it often pauses there completely, testing its own grip carefully, tail and foot adjusting again and again, before finally trusting its full weight to the crossing. Across parts of Madagascar, chameleons carry old stories with them too, woven gently into local tradition, sometimes linked to omens or ancestral spirits, a quiet reminder of just how long this small creature has shared its patient, watchful presence with the people living alongside it. We're nearly 4 hours into this long, unhurried journey now, and still, this same gentle quiet holds steady all around. Those who care for chameleons closely, over long stretches of time, often notice something rather lovely, each one seeming to carry its own small, particular temperament, some calmer, some more curious, even among littermates raised in the very same gentle way. Because of just how easily stressed these small creatures can become, the gentlest modern caretakers now favor a simple, patient method, offering a hand quietly and letting the chameleon choose, on its own unhurried terms, whether to climb aboard at all. Seen from above, a chameleon's whole body tapers gently at both ends, boat-like or leaf-like, blurring its outline further still among the dappled, overlapping leaves it calls home. On especially warm days, some chameleons will open their mouths wide, holding it there a moment, releasing a little extra warmth the way a dog might pant, a small, simple way of easing the day's heat, without needing to move from its comfortable spot at all. Even when two rival males do meet, actual contact remains rare. Almost every disagreement settled quietly through color and posture alone, a calm, wordless negotiation that only very rarely needs to turn physical at all. Not every chameleon keeps strictly to daylight hours, either. In warm, humid conditions especially, when insects stay active well after dark, a few species will carry a little of their business into the night as well, blurring gently the line between day and rest. Very occasionally, a larger chameleon species may prey upon a smaller, less closely related chameleon nearby, a rare, uncomfortable exception to their usual quiet, solitary lives, though far from a common or defining behavior. In the gentlest, most thoughtful zoo enclosures, real, living plants are often chosen over artificial ones entirely, something about genuine, growing foliage seeming to help a chameleon settle more fully, feeling safer, more at home, than any careful imitation ever quite manages. And even now, researchers continue mapping the full, tangled family tree connecting every chameleon species, uncovering, now and then, surprising and unexpected kinship between populations separated by whole oceans and centuries, all tracing quietly back to some shared, ancient branch. If several small insects happen to drift within reach at once, a chameleon can strike more than once in fairly quick succession, though never carelessly. Each strike is followed by a brief, careful pause, re-aiming patiently, before ever committing to the next. In that same instant a strike finally lands, some chameleons show a small, sudden flash of color. Not a signal meant for anyone else, simply a brief ripple of excitement, passing quickly through its whole small nervous system before settling calm again. Some of the chameleons we've spoken of tonight were only found at all after long, difficult expeditions deep into remote highland or coastal forest, patches of this world so hard to reach that even now, much of them remain only partly explored. Madagascar's forests, sadly, cover far less ground than they once did generations ago, and that quiet loss is exactly why so much careful attention now turns toward protecting whatever forest remains for the small, patient lives depending on it. In some parts of the island, dedicated rescue centers now care specifically for chameleons displaced or injured by that same shrinking habitat, nursing them gently back to health before returning them, whenever possible, to safer, protected stretches of forest. Even a chameleon's everyday color can shift, ever so slightly, with the turning seasons, following the same slow changes in forest light and leaf color that mark one time of year giving way softly to the next. Not every chameleon hunts quite the same way, either. Some prefer to simply wait, still and patient, for a meal to wander close on its own, while others roam a touch more actively, patrolling a slightly wider stretch of branch and leaf in search of their next meal. And vision, though clearly its dominant sense, isn't the only one a chameleon relies on. A simple, modest sense of smell helps too, quietly guiding it now and then toward nearby food, or occasionally, another chameleon resting close by. We're well past the point where any of this needs to hurry. Just this long, gentle unfolding, one more quiet fact at a time. In a few communities across Madagascar, small, careful ecotourism walks now lead curious visitors out after dark specifically to find chameleons resting, pale and still, on their favorite low branches, a gentle source of income that, in its own quiet way, helps protect the same forest these visitors have come to admire. Successful captive breeding of hardier species, like the veiled and panther chameleons we've returned to so often tonight, has also helped ease pressure on wild populations altogether, supplying much of today's pet trade demand without needing to take any more from the forest itself. Once conditions finally turn favorable, a paused chameleon egg might still take anywhere from a few weeks to several months to complete its slow journey toward hatching, the exact timing depending entirely on its own particular species. And the very moment a young chameleon does hatch, it instinctively seeks out the nearest thing to climb, moving upward, away from the riskier ground below, as quickly as its brand new limbs will carry it. Even in careful captivity, researchers have noticed that a little gentle variety, different textures to climb, small shifts in light, seems to help young chameleons grow into calmer, more naturally confident adults, compared with those kept in something too still and unchanging. For all the differences we've uncovered across nearly 200 known species tonight, every single one shares that very same foundational design: gripping feet, a curling tail, two independent eyes, and one remarkable tongue, one shared inheritance, carried forward along countless separate, equally patient paths. In some regions, careful education efforts are gently replacing old fears and superstitions with something warmer instead: curiosity, and a quiet, protective pride in a creature so many communities now recognize as a true, unique treasure of their home. Even the long, slow shifts of a changing climate are being studied carefully now, too, since so many chameleon species remain closely tied to one narrow, particular band of warmth and moisture within their forest homes. And after everything we've gathered tonight, chameleons remain, in truth, still only partly understood, every careful new study quietly revealing one more small layer of behavior, or biology, or color, that no one had fully noticed before. We've come an extraordinarily long, soft way together now, nearly 4.5 hours of quiet forest, patient creatures, and slow, careful fact, gathered gently, one at a time, like dew collecting softly on a leaf overnight. Modern researchers now sometimes use gentle camera traps and quiet thermal imaging to study sleeping chameleon populations after dark, learning what they need to know without ever needing to disturb a single resting branch. Identifying one chameleon species from another, closely related one, often comes down to the smallest of details: a particular casque shape, a subtle shade of color, one small stretch of forest rather than another, differences an untrained eye might easily miss entirely. Zoos around the world now sometimes work together, too, carefully managing which individuals breed with which, across many different institutions at once, to keep the rarest species healthy and genetically diverse for generations still to come. Local Malagasy names for these same creatures often differ entirely from their formal Latin ones. Older, independent names passed down quietly through generations, long before any outside classification ever arrived to give them another. Even old, carefully preserved specimens resting quietly in museum collections continue to help today's researchers, offering a gentle comparison point between chameleon populations of the past and the ones still living and breathing today. And that same long, quiet stillness we've returned to so often tonight isn't simple idleness at all, researchers now understand. It's an active, deliberate strategy, patience itself serving as one of this small creature's most powerful and effective tools for survival. In classrooms in some parts of the world, chameleons are used specifically to help children understand adaptation and gentle change. One single, visible creature making an idea that's often hard to see elsewhere suddenly clear, and close, and real. A small handful of chameleon species remain so rarely encountered, even now, that much of their reproduction, lifespan, and daily life stays only partly recorded, quiet gaps, left gently open, waiting for some future, patient researcher to finally fill them in. And everything we've gathered across this long, unhurried night together, the leaf-shaped body, the reaching tongue, the shifting color, the quiet, steady grip, adds up, in the end, to one single, complete life. Built slowly, built patiently, built, across many millions of years, toward exactly this, a watchful, unhurried, endlessly small kind of wonder. Somewhere, in that same quiet forest we first stepped into so many hours ago, another chameleon very much like ours is settling into its own long night's rest right now, one small, patient life among countless others, scattered gently through the dark, all breathing slowly, all resting well. And so, at last, are we. 200 small facts, gathered gently across one long, unhurried night. Let all of it settle now, however it wants to. There is nothing left to watch for. Nothing left to find. Just this soft, steady dark, and this slow, complete rest, waiting patiently for you, exactly as it always has been. Good night.